All right, we're live. So, good Monday morning to everyone. I'm so excited to be joining you early this Monday on my favorite holiday of the week of Thanksgiving. And I hope all of you are out there preparing to have some great food. I know many of you are doing Zoom calls with your family. Some of you might have some family over to visit. It's definitely a different time for Thanksgiving. However, no matter what, I'm always grateful for all of you. I'm always grateful for the opportunities that God has given me to run an abundant business. And I'm so thankful for our members, and especially our VIP member that I have with me today, Nicole Young. Nicole, welcome to your Member Monday Spotlight.
Hi.
So this is where we spotlight one of our female members every single week, and we ask them to bring forward what it is that they would like to talk about. And Nicole and I have been on a conference call now for the last hour, and we just swapped over to this. And we have been talking all about when you're called. So some call it the awakening, some call it, when God stepped forward and calls you into an alignment when you're ready for you to accept your gifts. And we talk about being unique all the time. And lately, Nicole has really stepped forward into her calling and what her gifts are. And I can tell you, I've been a recipient of these gifts, as well as many women in Lead Up for Women, and they're blown away by her ability and her intuitive ability and her gifts to really, the way I see it, is just have a thinner veil between us and what the future and what our world looks like. So, Nicole, I would love for you to explain a little bit more before I ramble on, to talk to us about really how did these gifts come about? What is happening in your world today?
Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole. So my awakening started about 2 years ago, and it was very apparent that change was occurring within me. I had been changing with friends, changing with family, was in a really bad, unhealthy relationship, realizing that growing up, maybe I wasn't in a very safe environment like a lot of women and men are, and thinking that the normal is the normal, right? We get out, we do our thing, and everything is perfect. But on October 17th in 2018, life just seemed to be falling apart. And if anyone knows the message there, is that when everything else is falling apart, things obviously are falling into place, right? So I was having sleepless nights. I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, on notifying things were going on. I had 11 people die in a year and a half in my family. So some mornings were hard for me to get out of bed. And all of a sudden, I had a friend show up at my back door who needed some advice. And her husband was standing at the door. I had never met him before. And after they left, something weird happened. Like my TV would go on and off. Like I always knew I was different. And anyone who's ever been in my company knows that I'm different. So when the awakening started happening, I'm like, this is not happening. So driving in my car, all of a sudden I had this, I guess maybe we talked to ourselves kind of moment. And all of a sudden it was like someone was whispering things in my ear. And I think it's my angels. I have a tribe of them now that are in heaven, and I can speak to people who are passed away. I'm clairvoyant also. I guess you can consider me a medium. It doesn't unfortunately work for me, but I'm stepping out in faith and sharing that no one needs to be silent any longer. Because of this abusive relationship, strong women do struggle. And I think the stronger you are looking at it now on the other side, I'm even stronger than I was. So it's not the setback, it's the comeback. It's what you do with the tools and gifts that you get after the abuse. It's after a bad, growing up. It's after being in a marriage and not knowing how to make it work. After someone leaves this life, you're left with questions. And I've been able to tune in and channel people's emotions and feelings. And I've always been good with consoling people. Like I've done a lot of catering and bartending over the years, and always I had the funerals for some reason. So I was at my nephew's funeral to share a moment with you. And my daughter she's a beautiful voice, she's a singer. She was singing at all the funerals, unfortunately, for a girl who is 16 years old in high school And she kept singing. She said to me, Mom, I don't want to be the deaf singer anymore. And it broke my heart. Like, you think of the wedding singer, all the happy times, but all of these people love to hear her sing. So I remember her singing at my nephew's funeral, and he was into cell phones, and everyone's phone was off, and everyone was asked to not have their phone turned on. And all of a sudden during the service, as she started to sing Hallelujah, my phone started going crazy. It was the weirdest awakening that I've ever had. So when the other side of your life is speaking to you, listen to the small voice inside, because the gifts that we have may not be, you might not be a ballerina. You might not be a firefighter. You might just be here to help someone cross over or walks among the living, right? Angels live among us. So if you can change someone's life, I have a gift of healing, and it's intuitive, and I can feel people's energy. And if I can help you say goodbye to someone that's passed away or I'm triggered, I'm kind of like a spiritual connector. So that's kind of, I've come to Colleen, and I've called her on some strange days because I'm just intuitive with her and I can feel her energy. I've called people on our VIP team and really helped them step out when they really weren't sure about making a decision about their future. Psychics and tarot card readers and gypsies, we all get a bad rap, but we're all here for a higher purpose. So if you're in alignment, we have a girl named Julie on our squad. Like, she is living in her alignment, and her purpose in life is showing and glowing, I call it. And when you're living it like Colleen changes so many people's lives. So Colleen and I met at a conference in Philly, and when I walked in, she had this huge picture on the wall with this little girl that said, "Do you remember me?" And I finally remembered who I was, and I'm grateful for that. And if Colleen didn't start her growth and go in her awakening, the rest of the people on her team wouldn't be as abundant in the ways in which they choose success. So success is different for all of us, but for Colleen, it's her gifts. I mean, she's patient and kind and sharing, but when spirit triggers me to call her and give her a check, as I would say it, I'm here to help anybody that needs to be connected. So.
And that happens. So I'm, everyone knows how dead honest I am, how transparent I am about everything, because I really don't feel that I have anything to hide, right? I spent my whole life hiding behind masks, and when I was 36 and made that decision, like, no more. I'm not going to be everything for everybody. I really need to figure out who I am and do things my way. It changed my whole life, and it changed the direction of my life. And, now 13 years later, I'm very happy, in a relationship that I'm in and my family. I'm very happy with the business that I chose and leaving corporate America, even though I had people lined up at my door telling me, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But when your call is greater than what your belief in what it is that you're doing today, because it's just that you get into this monotonous kind of circle of that's what I feel like I need to do, but your calling is just pulling at you. Ladies, we know what that is. And when that's calling and pulling at you and you feel like there's just something I need to be doing, and you're stopping and listening, and Nicole's a great opportunity for you to utilize as a toolkit. Nicole's in my toolkit, and she'll reach out to me on days and say something's shifted in your energy. She doesn't know if something's going on in my world I didn't think. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what? How do you know that? And then we have a conversation over the phone. And let me explain something that's interesting. When we have our cards read, or when someone is talking to us about our future, we want to hear everything great. We want to hear about everything that's grand. We never want to hear about the hardships we're going to have to come across, about the loss that may come to our lives, about changes in ways that we're not in our brains today. Remember, in our brains and our minds today, it's hard for us to accept these things that are in the future, right? However, we still have the freedom of choice on what happens in our future and things that we're told. I kind of see it as a pre-warning, like, hey, by the way, these things are coming, and Nicole only tells me the messages that she's given, that she's allowed to give me at a certain time, because I'm going to be honest, Nicole, our little pea brains could not imagine if God were to deliver all the information to us and not give it to us in little doses, our brains never comprehend that.
Right.
Never. So that's why you're here, and you're here to deliver messages to people when they're struggling, when something's going on in their lives, when they're looking for direction. And ladies, I'm going to highly, strongly recommend, I can't tell you the how much assistance Nicole has been for me in decision making I've had to do in changing the way that my life and the trajectory of the way my life has gone. It's almost like when you have a financial advisor that's helping you with your finances because it's not an area of your expertise and you need someone to help you. You couldn't figure out maybe how to do all the investments yourself if you had to do it. That's why I have a financial advisor. I feel like Nicole is a life advisor in that she's helping us with decisions that we're going to have to make, whether you want to have to make them or not. You're going to have to. And Nicole has a direct line and conduit to information that you don't have direct access to. So I know Nicole's going to place her information below, but Nicole, talk to us a little bit more. You do readings with people. Explain to us what that looks like when you do those. How do you do those? Is it something you do over the phone, over Zoom? Talk us through a little bit more.
Okay, so it's a little hard to explain because there are tarot readers who read every day. They put an abundance of stuff out there. I'm on YouTube. It's called Out There Healing 1111. The only reason Spirit gave me that was I'm opening up a wellness center for women that are abused, and it's called Speak Up. So don't be afraid to ever tell anybody that you suffer in silence. So that's kind of like I'm that spiritual leader, helper over. I'm not like a priest or anything, but I'm a connector. So if I can connect you to the right alliance, that's what I do. So I'm on Facebook now. The Awakeness caused me to actually open up my own line of thoughts to help women. I've started my own collection. It's just affirmations. It's a powerful way to look at your life. So I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. You have to market yourself. I'm selling me. I mean, I'm in the sign business normally for a living. And I wondered as a little girl, why the sign business? Well, I'm a sign. We're all a sign. We all leave some kind of legacy. So YouTube, I do daily readings. I do weekly readings, but I do private readings as well. I like to do them live. If you want to come over to where I live, that's great too. Some people like to feel the energy, but when I'm called and I feel your energy, I will call you. I mean, I have a lot of people that that are on my tribe and they wait for me to call them with good news or bad. Like I'll just send Colleen a message on a Monday morning, like, look, this happened to you over the weekend. I need to talk to you now. Like I feel something wrong. So it's kind of like before you run into a burning building, right? If you have that intuition that is going to burn down and there's a fire in you, if there's somebody out there that has some sort of calling or some desire that's tugging at their heart and you're ignoring it, that's your gift. We're all called for that gift. So my platform is private and it's, viral. So if you want a more intimate reading, I have love readings. And they're not like, black magic or goofy, crazy stuff that people look at gypsies as bad people. This is just the influence of energy, right? You have to be grounded. It's emotions, it's spirit, it's your grounding worth is the earth. Your horoscopes and who your chemical makeup is has a lot to do with what happens in your life. And when people say, I don't know anything about my horoscope, well, you should, because we're godly divine by the world. And once divine, as I call him, or God, how you call him, or Buddha, or whatever, if you're aligned and you hear your calling, life is easy. But when we have those things that keep coming up that are bad karma, it's because we're doing it to ourselves. We are so out of alignment. So do not ignore that. So in the private readings, you get a little bit more intimate. I do Reiki and healing. I do spiritual cleanses. We meditate as groups. I meditate alone. I'll meditate with you. But it's about clearing your stuff out, right? Who wants to carry that bag around with you? Call me, I'll help you release it. So some of us just aren't strong enough to, like Colleen said, thank you for, stating the facts that if you don't like what I have to say, it is okay. And you have free will. So you have free will to get up and get in your car and drive to work. You have free will to take a bus. And you have free will of the people that you let in your circle. So if you let bad energy in, You're going to eventually have to clear it out. So you might as well call me because I can help you a lot sooner. That's all. I don't like.
I can't recommend Nicole enough, and I'm going to have Nicole place her information below in the comment section, her YouTube link. I'm going to have her put how you can reach out to her. I'm going to recommend that all of you reach out for a reading. Nicole, what are you charging right now? I want to make sure that's very clear to everybody.
It's $60 an hour, depending on the reading. If it's Reiki, it could be a little bit more. If it's a love reading, it depends how long actually the reading takes. It's wherever spirit leads me. So if you want 30 minutes, great. If you want 60 minutes, we can do that. Call me. It's easier to figure out the price one-on-one, depending on the need, instead of me throwing out one cost for everybody, because it changes. Somebody could just want advice on a question, and it might be like $10, or it could be free if spirit doesn't want me to charge. Not that I'm going to, but there are some rare circumstances where if I'm on your spiritual team, it could cost nothing. It could cost $100. I don't know. It's not up to me. So
Yeah, that makes sense. So thank you so much for sharing that, because it's well worth it, and she's easily accessible. So I'll have Nicole go out to the Facebook video, put her information in there so that you guys have that. Again, Nicole, thank you for joining us today and being here. And I'm a huge supporter of yours. You've been a huge support to Lead Up for Women, and I'm honored to have you on our team. I'm honored that you're on my spiritual team. And thank you so much for everything that you do for Lead Up for Women and the women in Lead Up for Women. So
no, thank you. If it wasn't for you changing your purpose, you wouldn't enlighten the rest of us to stand up and speak our word and, follow our own path. So everyone have a nice Thanksgiving. If you need me, just not at 2 a.m. I'll be sleeping.
All right, you guys, we'll share her information below. Have a wonderful week and happy Thanksgiving.